Hello, Managing Madrid Podcast listeners. Before we get into tonight's post-game show, I wanted to share on behalf of everyone at the Managing Madrid Podcast our deepest respect, love, and condolences to Diogo Jota and Andre Silva's family. This is the first time we've recorded something since the deaths of Diogo and Andre. The day it happened, I woke up and saw the news on my phone. I didn't have the words then, and I certainly still don't have the words now. As devastating as it is for us who didn't know him personally, I can't imagine what it's like for people close to him. And certainly I can't even fathom what Diogo's wife, his children, his parents are going through. I mean, the grief is incalculable. It's a pain that no one should ever have to go through. I've been thinking a lot about his kids and wife, as well as the parents of Diogo and Andre, who lost their two sons. As someone with two sons myself, it's just been really hard to process news like this. And again, I can't even begin to calculate how much pain the family is in now. So, what else can you say? There are no words. All we can do is send our deepest love to all the Liverpool fans as well as the family. Rest in peace, Diogo Jota and Andre Silva.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
What's up, Madridistas? Welcome to the Managing Madrid Podcast. I'm your host, Kiyan Sobhani, joined today, long overdue, by my co-host, Leah Revelle. How you doing, Leah?
Doing great. Summer. We won.
Yes.
Almost barely. The weird ending there. I don't know what happened. But we're looking great overall. I'm thrilled.
I am just over the moon with how this game was unfolding, and it kind of dipped at the end there with Dortmund scoring, and then it was lifted back up again to see Güler find Mbappe to make it 3-1, and then I wouldn't have cared so much if we just conceded the second goal.
Mm-hmm.
But we conceded it and lost Dean Huijsen for the PSG game in the process, which really spoiled the mood. Nevertheless, just wanted to say also right off the bat, it's nice to be back live on YouTube with you guys again. A lot of these podcasts we've done after the game in the Club World Cup have just been me from the stadium. We got the old podcast studio back. I'm back home for a few days, then flying back out to New York for the semifinal. And as always, keep it locked on managingmadrid.com for a lot of written analysis that goes up pretty timely after the game itself. Leah, why don't we start with, I just think, for me, it's kind of every podcast and every theme has been similar in that we're rolling up and waxing lyrical about Gonzalo Garcia, Arda Güler, Fede Valverde, and Fran Garcia, Dean Huijsen, and all of these kind of just came to the forefront again in the first half. Fran Garcia unchained. Güler is so great at progressing the ball and looking at those, finding those vertical channels, finding open players. Huijsen has been incredible at the back. Dean, Tony Kroos, Huijsen. And it just looks great. And all of those combined for the first couple goals. And Fran Garcia gets an assist, gets a goal. Gonzalo Garcia scores again. He looks great. I just over the moon watching him play. His football IQ, his off-ball movement, his hold-up play, his link-up play. He's so intelligent with where he needs to be. He's so strong and impressive on the ball. He's strong for his age. He's got a really strong frame. He's not that tall, but he holds his own. All of these themes came to the forefront today, and we're just here talking about a lot of the similar things we've been talking about the last few games.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And it's crazy too, because there was a press conference a couple of matches ago where Xabi Alonso said, I think you touched on this on Twitter, or Managing Madrid did on Twitter, or maybe even in a podcast, I don't remember. But he mentioned that he was watching. Like he said almost verbatim. Like, I know the level of Gonzalo Garcia because I've been following him closely in Castilla. So
That was my question to him. That was and
yeah,
that's what he said. Yeah, because I honestly, I mean, I didn't expect him to come out and say that. Yeah, I'm completely surprised,
yeah,
but I was. The reason I liked his answer, and I've liked every single one of his answers, by the way, throughout this whole thing, he just says all the right things. He gives us a ton of tactical insight.
uh-huh.
But just like what struck me about that quote was actually that I know all of Castilla's players,
Yeah.
and there's a reason why these kids need to be given a chance. And I'm like, great. Like me and my dad were talking about it in the car today, and he's like, I just love that we're seeing the youth team players play, and obviously they combined on the first goal today, and to see this version of Fran Garcia is incredible. Um, I think Leah, I remember saying before Xabi Alonso even coached a game for Real Madrid that people underestimate how much a new coach with new ideas, can come in and get a relatively similar group of players to play a different brand of football and to do better things. If you want to come to the podcast, you have to say Hala Madrid. That's the rule. My son is trying to sneak on the podcast. We've been watching Club World Cup games together. But yeah, just maybe I cut you off, but just continue with that. Like his quote about Gonzalo Garcia and how attuned he seems to be with the youth system.
Yeah, I have a few thoughts. The first thought is it's unfortunate that we're just now starting to see the talent that does exist in Castilla. And like we've already seen a little bit of a glimpse with Raul Asensio. I know his form has dipped slightly, but and obviously with the arrivals of some of the new defenders and the system that Xabi Alonso is playing. But also now this is two. Like besides Jacobo Ramon, besides everyone else, now we're seeing like the incredible breakout of Gonzalo Garcia too, which by the way, for the last 2 years or like at least a year, but even pre Joselu, like we still were searching for like an out and out replacement for Benzema. And I think honestly, Joselu was amazing. And I think obviously we can't replace the impact that he made for us last season or 2 seasons ago. But this is the closest we've come to Benzema since Benzema. And like, the resemblance to Raul even is uncanny. It's insane. His level, his confidence, and his composure in just five starts for the first team. It's like, it's unbelievable. And now this makes me wonder how many more people or many more players does Castilla have that are just like waiting to be unlocked?
Well, I said it after the last game that our, Arda Güler is the player we needed to sign for the midfield. And Gonzalo Garcia is that profile we were missing that we needed to sign. And it turns out like it's not a big deal to make a huge fuss about like lack of signings. When you use the talent you have, it changes completely the dynamic of the team. And if you know how to utilize those pieces and those talented players, it is not as urgent to go into the transfer market. And look, we saw like we were excited about Fran Garcia at Rayo. Like we used to do this Lone Tracker podcast. We watched a ton of Rayo Vallecano games. He was impressive as a two-way player. And I think a lot of the label he got ultimately when he came to Real Madrid was that he is the guy who can put a cross in and play offensively. And Mendy is the guy who can defend, and Fran Garcia who can't defend. But if you actually go back to his Rayo days, Fran Garcia was a two-way fighter. He spoke about that after the last game too. Like, this suits me because Xabi Alonso wants us, the fullbacks, me and Trent, to win the ball high up the pitch, and we have a lot of use for this team. And let me give my theory about why he looks like such a different player now under Xabi Alonso as opposed to last season under Carlo Ancelotti. I think it's ultimately this, Leah. Last season and during the Carlo era, the play was so heavily just Vinicius gets the ball on the left wing, iso ball, and Fran Garcia, like, I kind of have no use for you. It doesn't matter if you make the run or not. I'm not passing you the ball. And I feel like that is kind of like a demoralizing, like when you're playing in a system where you're like, okay, what is my purpose here? It's kind of demoralizing, and I don't think that got the best out of Fran Garcia, nor I don't think it got the best out of Vinny too. This year, and I don't think Vinny again wasn't at his best today, but I can see very clearly on the field in the Club World Cup that Xabi is asking Vinny to not make things so complicated. Look at Vinny's last few games, including today. He gets the ball, he's often just passing it off. Like he's not really taking players on as much as, or if he does, he's pretty much playing more simple passes. And Fran Garcia, by that same token, is becoming way more involved than he's ever been. And he feels really involved. And I think that he just feels empowered in the system and he's getting the best. So far, we're getting a much better version of Fran Garcia than we ever have at Real Madrid. And this is not even like Rayo Fran Garcia. People are like, oh, this is Rayo Fran Garcia. This is actually better than Rayo Fran Garcia. This is like Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk. He looks ridiculous out there. He looks possessed on that goal he scored. So it looks good. So I would say, Leah, like by halftime, I think we were all feeling pretty good, right? Like we got the Güler to GG pass. The 2-0 was Trent getting involved to Fran Garcia, fullback to fullback. We go in at halftime, 2-0. The press is suffocating. We have our man-to-man high press down. We're intercepting passes all over the field because the press is so cohesive and it's so efficient. Our movement and build-up is insane. We're picking Dortmund apart. We should be up probably 3 goals. Huijsen looks great. Fran looks great. Dortmund look really underwhelming, and that in a large part has to do with us. So we're feeling pretty good at halftime. And I don't know. Is there anything else like from that first half that you want to touch?
The build up to the second goal, even the build up to the first goal. But the build up to the second goal is just like a sneak peek for like into what has been happening since Xabi Alonso has taken over. You said it, the cohesion that we have in the build up, but then also in our press. It's like almost kind of unbelievable how quickly he was able to like just pull the reins of everyone and get them like working as a cohesive unit. And it's crazy what a leader can do. And like, even not necessarily even a leader, because I don't want to, give too much disrespect to Ancelotti, obviously. But when things get stale, how much like a refresh and some new tactics and just a new, authority figure can do for that same squad of players.
Yeah, 100%. So Dortmund comes out and makes 3 subs at halftime. And I think they kind of, I think it might be too strong of a statement to say that they turned momentum into their favor, but they did start out strong. Huijsen had a couple big interventions in the box. Then I think like midway through the second half, we took control again, and we really should have scored a 3rd goal to put it to bed, but we didn't. But I think we regained like midway through the second half. We regained control. We brought in some fresh legs. This is also something I liked about Xabi Alonso so far. He makes heavy subs, and he makes them pretty quick if he deems that the team has lost some momentum. Real Madrid is obviously still playing in the heat. These kickoff times are not ideal, and it's tiring. If you want to press for the entire game, it's going to be hard. You're going to have to make subs. So as soon as we lost a little bit of momentum, Xabi made some changes. Matt wrote about this after the last game. Just the adjustment of putting Tchouaméni in a more advanced role to help Güler in the midfield made a lot of difference in the last game. And we're seeing all these just really encouraging signs as we go on. I will say this, just to not get ahead of ourselves. We played Al Hilal, who, hey, turns out not bad. We played Pachuca, we played Salzburg, we played Juventus, we played Dortmund. It's nice that we've slayed 3 European teams in the middle here. Mm-hmm. The real test is on the 8th against PSG. 8th or 9th, one of those two, I don't know. That's going to be a good measuring stick about like, where we are right now. And I will say, like, I have been very encouraged. And I know it hasn't been perfect, but you just factor in like how different the style of play is, how many new things have to be implemented, how many players that are just kind of being integrated into the system, and what Xabi has done until now, and what he's done to the games of people like Gonzalo and and Fran and Güler, I've been very encouraged. So it's great. It looks really great.
There's one thing I want to mention too, is that, well, kind of like to piggyback off of what I said last, with regards to playing as like a cohesive unit, is that it's balanced. Like everything is very balanced. There's no, you know what I mean? Like if pressure is heavy on one side of the pitch, it's switched to the other side of the pitch. Like we have transitions and attack on both sides of the pitch and through the middle. There's no one channel or one player or whatever that play is reliant on. So like it's not just like, you know, get the ball to Mbappe and hope for the best, or get the ball to Vinny and hope for the best. It's like really a very like strategic, meticulous buildup in order to like be successful in the final third. So I think that's a huge difference. And what I'll say about Vinny is that I definitely don't think he's been at his best, but I do think his role has been very different from what it was last season as part of this more cohesive unit. Like it's not Vinny ball, it's not Mbappe ball anymore. It's like Real Madrid ball, you know?
There are a few super chats about exactly this thing you're talking about. I just wanted to say a couple things. Welcome back, Kylian Mbappe. What a goal.
Yeah.
It flashed on the screen. 44th goal of the season. My brain was like, wow. First of all, we're still in this season. It's not over yet.
Crazy, right?
Second of all, like 44 goals is just filthy. I think he's going to hang 50 next season. Last season prediction was 40. Next season, he's hanging 50 on Europe. That's my prediction.
Like easily, because now he's had his year. He started slow. He picked up. Now he's there. Also, do you know what's crazy is I saw a tweet that said this season started like at the end of July last year. And it's still going at the mid-July this year.
Yeah.
Isn't that insane?
Well, it makes sense. I mean, like, think about like, I've gone to every preseason tournament in the US, and they all start like at the end of this month. Like
Yeah.
this is literally still part of the season. Like it's
Yeah.
you know, we're not even into a preseason stage yet of next season. And
Right?
thank
Crazy.
God I don't think there will be anything to after this. It'll
Mhm.
just be rest and training sessions and Valdebebas. But anyways, one more thing about the Mbappe goal, because it was a brilliant goal. The assist from Güler, that was Güler's second great assist of the game.
Hmm.
And both the assists had one thing in common. He looks up, he sees exactly who needs to be hit in the box, and he just snipes it there.
Yep.
The precision, the vision, the execution, phenomenal. He
Yep.
looked up and saw Gonzalo Garcia in the box and found him in the first goal. The
Mhm.
second goal, he took his time, looked up once, twice, Mbappe, far post, bang, found him. His passing into the box has been tremendous. And you think about other players too. Like you think about that play where Vinny tries to chip the keeper from a long way out in the first half. That was also another play started by Güler. I actually I don't know if it was that one or another one, but Güler had actually two in the first half. Oh no, sorry, the one I'm mixing it up. The one where Bellingham just shoots with his left foot and it goes just wide in the first half.
Yes.
That was a Güler dink pass, and he's had so many of those. And I think what has made life so much easier for the deep lying playmakers like Huijsen and Güler is that Xabi Alonso has ensured that there's always these vertical outlets for him. Like for Güler, Xabi has talked about this. For Güler, Bellingham has to move between the lines just ahead of him. Fede Valverde is making all these off-ball runs off the defensive line on the right, like undetected, and Güler is finding him.
Mm-hmm.
Fran Garcia making those overloads for Huijsen to hit the through balls in. Like I think everyone is just, their lives are a little bit easier right now because of this Xabi Alonso ecosystem. And I just, that's why I'm excited about it, because not because it's in a perfect stage right now, but because you can see the signs of where this is going once the team actually does get cohesive and does get a string of games under their belt.
I also,
yeah.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
Before you get into that, just one more thing is that when you think of the entire 11, like there's not really one player that had a poor performance. Like everyone cooked, generally speaking, in their own positions. Fede and Jude have been unbelievable. Arda has been unbelievable. Trent has been incredible. Rudiger has been good considering he's just come back from injury. Everyone. Tchouameni's also been unbelievable. There's not one player that I can think like honestly maybe Vinny is the least version of himself, I would
I
say.
think Vinny and I think Trent hasn't hit his stride yet. I get that he's had assists and he had a couple nice passes today.
Yeah.
I think Trent has another level he hasn't gone to yet. He kind of
Yeah.
looks like I can't diagnose it exactly, but he looks a little bit leg heavy and almost not 100% fit
Yeah.
because
be.
there are certain balls that he just looks slow getting to.
Mhm.
So hopefully that'll just come with time.
Yeah.
But still, like this is what worries me, Leah, about I still think like as many good things as we've seen so far, I think the theme where our weakness will be that high line behind Trent.
Hmm.
And just like Rudiger again was, he had some great moments today. Looked like his feet were on fire at the end of the game, just like with his chaotic things that he was doing. Um, and we go into next game without Hausen, who was the guy who's been the most reliable player on the back line. Tchouameni's been great as well, obviously. But that kind of worries me. We're gonna go Rudiger, Asensio, and Tchouameni, I guess. So we'll see how it goes. Look, Hausen can't play every game, so I guess this is a test run of some sorts. But it sucks that we have to go into that PSG game without Hausen.
Agreed. Unfortunate. And a really poor foul to concede, to be honest. Penalties to concede. After an incredible tackle. Like not necessary. Literally, you know what I mean? The ball was gone. And then he pulled him down after. It makes no sense. But
I'd have to look at it again. I'll be really honest. I didn't see a replay. I mean, at that stage, if you're going to concede a penalty and a red card, you might as well just concede the goal. That would be better.
Right?
That you don't miss it. But I have to look at it again to see.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are saying it was soft.
It was really soft. Like he got the ball and then a couple seconds after grabbed his shoulder. But like he also made the most of it. You know what I mean? It's a pretty clear he was the last man. I can see why it was given, but also it was soft.
Let's take a couple super chats. Oh, before I always forget. I feel so bad because there's always one player I forget to talk about, and it's not intentional. It's kind of because I'm desensitized to it. But Thibaut Courtois, bless you, man. God bless you. God bless you and your mother who gave birth to you, because that save at the end,
right?
Preventing it from being 3-3 out of nowhere into extra time now with 10 men.
Mm-hmm.
That was not ideal because I was just ready to do this podcast, and the thought of us now all of a sudden rewriting the script and talking about a loss, but talking about it like 45 minutes after we were supposed to record, just sent shivers down my spine. So thank you, Thibaut Courtois, for preventing that scenario from happening. Jassel says Arda Güler deserves to be the new number 10 and starter this upcoming season. Well, I think you got your wish, buddy. I think that's happening. I think it's happening. Shayan Saha says, great first half, but second half too relaxed. Vinny needs that's extreme. So poor with passing, and his pressing was non-existent. Mbappe and Garcia should start versus PSG. I agree that I don't think Vinny was at his best today. You and I both spoke about that.
Yep.
I don't know how, he turns this gradually back into his favor. I thought he was better last game. I think he's had some good moments, but I think he is just a level below himself. And it's a lot of it looks like a confidence related thing to me, where he doesn't look as confident taking players on.
Yeah.
And today, today in particular, Leah, it felt to me more like he was, maybe anonymous is the right word.
Yeah.
Like so let me, okay, this is where I'm going with it. Just bear with me. I think in Xabi Alonso's system, it's so much less reliant on individual brilliance and more reliant on the collective that I think, we don't actually see as much of Vinny on the ball, going at players every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
because there's a method to it. There's a clear build-up structure. We're moving the ball around constantly. We're playing these passes into the half spaces. We're getting the balls into the box. We now have Gonzalo Garcia as a reference point. And so if you look at it today, Vinicius had just 32 touches, which
Mhm.
is the same amount as Luka Modric, who came on in the 66th minute. Obviously, like, Modric is going to get more on the ball because he's a midfielder. I get that. But comparatively, um, to last year, I feel like he's getting on the ball less. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a byproduct of Xabi Alonso being less reliant on just pumping the ball to the left wing and letting the left winger cook. So he's just not getting the ball on the ball as much. And I don't know if that's a byproduct, of. But again, I don't, he doesn't look like he just doesn't. He looks a level below
It's
what we're
like a
used to of him.
yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like I feel like maybe it's a little bit of both. Like it's definitely you can definitely see like some sort of confidence issue. He's just not as it doesn't look like he's having the same he's enjoying playing to the same extent as he was. But also I do think that we will see his role continue to adapt this year like we've seen so far because it's not like I said, it's not the Vinny show anymore and it's not the Mbappe show anymore. It's like a collective effort to attack. The offensive buildup is a collective movement forward, through both channels, like through the left and down the right and down the middle, So I think that, which is a good thing. Like there should be, I think ultimately that's how you get the most because even from like if you're continuously pumping the ball to the left wing and Vinny's, taking on players and, getting dispossessed or missing balls or missing chances, and that's how confidence starts to go down. But I feel like in this system, once he's back to his best, I think it's actually better for him in hindsight.
My next question to you was about the coexistence of Mbappe and Gonzalo Garcia and Vinicius. So we'll take a super chat that's related to this, and then we'll come back to Anthony's. But Emmanuel Ugarte says, "Do you start Mbappe and GG against PSG and bench Vinny?" This has actually been on my mind for the last. I mean, just basically has been on my mind for a while because Gonzalo Garcia has been so impressive, and I don't. On paper, you think about like what are the solutions to this, and it kind of makes sense that Mbappe would just come in and start over Gonzalo Garcia, but the way Gonzalo Garcia is playing right now, it's hard to justify that. But I don't think Mbappe can't be benched either. He's Kylian Mbappe, and he is incredible. And if we're going based on form, if these three can't coexist, Vinicius is the one that has to be benched. But I'm really curious to see what solutions Xabi Alonso comes up with because Xabi Alonso said the other day that the three can play together, which I'm curious to know what that looks like because if the three are to play together, you're sacrificing a midfielder. And you can't sacrifice Jude or Fetty or Güler. So what does that actually look like? How would it potentially imbalance the team? But I think I'm at a stage now where I think Gonzalo Garcia has to start, if I'm being really honest.
I think here's my thoughts. Players aside, just like generally speaking, not related to our squad or a different squad. If a player has dropped in form, typically the idea is to have another player in that position start or compete for that spot. To push the other player to kick their ass into gear basically. But to also give the other player minutes and match fitness and match experience and whatever, regardless of who it is. Now, understandably, these are like two of the best players in the world that unfortunately are hard to drop. But I don't see why in a Club World Cup match, important, yes. Lots of money, yes. But before the regular season, before we get into Champions League and we get into like season matches, I don't see why for one match, Mbappe starting on the left and Gonzalo Garcia starting up top would necessarily be a bad thing. I think that there's some complacency with everyone, with Mbappe too. And I think like today, for example, he was fit to start. He had minutes the last match. Like he could have started this match and he didn't. And I think, it also, he probably wasn't fully match fit again to start, but also I think, like you said, Gonzalo Garcia earned that spot. And I don't know. It's hard. It's like, in terms of seniority, yes, Gigi gets benched. That's just
What I like about Xabi Alonso so far is that he doesn't seem to give a shit about seniority.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is really refreshing to see. Like it's really great to see him. Like literally from day one, Gonzalo Garcia starting was an incredible omen to me. To like, oh wow, if you're ready, you're ready in Xabi Alonso's eyes. Doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are. If you're ready, you're ready.
Yep.
And so and we've seen like Vinicius come off every game. Actually, I think did he come off today?
Like 60.
Right, he came 66th minute, right?
Yeah.
So I if I'm not mistaken, Vinicius has come off every single game so far. It doesn't. What you essentially described is a good problem.
Yeah.
Never did we think, even the greatest Gonzalo Garcia champion supporters didn't think that he would be now in the conversation of like, should we bench Vinny or Mbappe for him? Like,
Yeah.
what an incredible problem to have, because we went from like, oh, we need to sign Budimir to like this.
Who do we bench?
Like in hindsight, but in my opinion at the time, because I was vocal about it, but for sure in hindsight, the Budimir discussion seems so ridiculous to me now that you can just only look back and like laugh. Like we were glazing over Budimir when you had this guy who was the Raul Regin in your squad.
Yeah,
let's just
literally.
let's come on. Let's be real. So
here's
I mean,
sorry, go ahead, finish. Sorry.
I mean, that's it. That Gonzalo Garcia has been a revelation, and now we're talking about him like can't be dropped. He's incredible.
If I was Xabi Alonso, I think this is what I would do. Not that I know anything because I'm not a football manager, but if I was, I would bench Vinny, I think, for against PSG, because I don't think there's any cons. I think that it is a statement to the squad that like, hey, I'm the new boss here and I am willing to make these like big badass decisions. And like, if you drop in form, you'll lose your spot in the starting 11, period. I think that just that sentiment is what some of the team and some of the players need in terms of complacency. I think that Mbappe starts, Gonzalo Garcia starts. It could also light a fire under Vinny's ass to like fight and push a little bit harder to get that spot back and get some confidence back. And then worst case, that's fresh legs of Vinicius Jr. in whatever minute if we need them. So I think it's like a win-win-win in this situation. And it's still, I don't want to say it's only the Club World Cup because obviously there's a lot on the line. It's a trophy, especially the first one for him. First for some people, it's a lot of prize money. But before we actually get into regular season stuff, I think it's not a bad idea.
Mbappe looked pretty explosive today off the bench, by the way. I liked what I saw. There's been a lot of discussion about how much weight he's lost, because of the illness. It was nice to see him just be so explosive, and obviously he took his goal really, really well. So one more super chat, couple quotes from Xabi Alonso, and then we can wrap it up here. Anthony says, spacing with and without the ball has been our biggest improvement. Not a surprise for anyone who watched Leverkusen. The real test is in 4 days. I echo this, Anthony. I mean, I think it's just great to see, he's spoken about this so many times, but like there's a white shirt in every single zone on the pitch. And everybody has made everybody's lives easier. The real test does come in the next game because I think PSG are the best team in the world until proven otherwise. I also, in terms of exposing our weaknesses in the high line between players like Kvara, who's on that side, obviously, Barcola, Doué. These guys, these guys are going to be our biggest test.
Hmm.
You win that game, then you're pretty close to 100 million in the bank, which you will win if you win the tournament. So,
Yeah.
um, my other son is about to crash the podcast, so I'm going to just read off a Xabi Alonso a few quotes in the press conference. You got to wait 1 second. Okay, if you're gonna come and crash the podcast, you have to come say hello. Say hello.
Hello.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Um, Arda helped us a lot in the first half by linking up with the center backs. We have to help him and give him balance. There will be things we need to improve, and I imagine what he means by that is that, like, he is there primarily to play quarterback, and he is not your traditional defensive anchor. So while he'll play the six in the build-up phase, when the ball is lost, it'll be a team effort to help him defensively as well. I'll start thinking about the lineup against PSG and Mbappe starting tomorrow. Mbappe is one of the most complete players in the world. Oh, Fran Garcia, one man of the match. I mean, I completely blacked out because when I'm not at the stadium, I'm not tuned into these things, but well deserved, I'd say.
Yeah, 100%, easily.
Another good Fran Garcia quote. He says, "We fullbacks were the link between the defenders and the midfielders, so the team doesn't fall apart." I think football these days demands a lot from us fullbacks, both in attack and defense, and Xabi Alonso makes that very clear to us. Yeah, I feel like this all goes back to what I was saying earlier, but I just feel like he feels more involved and more
Yeah.
important in the scheme, and I think that has helped him tremendously.
Yeah, different player. He
Yeah.
looks like. It's crazy.
All right, you got anything else before we wrap it up?
Bring on PSG.
You gonna come to New York?
I'd love to. I'll look at tickets and stuff tonight. I'll see. It's an hour, so it's less.
It's
40
close
minutes.
to you. Yeah, it's close to you. So I'm going back to New York now, ish. Like in the next couple of days, I'll be there for the semifinal. Hopefully for the final as well. Well, actually, regardless, I'm going to the final whether we're there or not because I'll be in New York. We're doing a podcast on July 12th in New York. If you want to come out to that, I put the link to RSVP in the chat, and also will be in the show notes. And hopefully we'll get Leah out for that in NYC. And also, this is just a cool thing that our resident cartoonist Finn, he designed, because it's a T-shirt that says Tranquilo, and it's Florentino doing
Oh
his
my god, I
thing.
love it.
And the inspiration behind this was that a lot of people were panicking this season that we're not upgrading the team, and within a week we got Housen, we got Trent, we got Xabi Alonso, Franco Mastantuono, and then this is just an ode to hey, Florentino got this. So if you like this T-shirt, it's only on sale until the end of the month. I put the link in the comments and the chat as well. Leah, come to New York, please. We'd love to see you.
I'll make it happen.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was nice to be back live with you guys, and we will give you guys a ton of content moving forward. Obviously, lots on the Club World Cup over on managingmadrid.com. And tomorrow, if you're a member, you get a bonus show, Madrid Mornings with Lucas Navarrete. That is the morning after every single game, only for members, patreon.com/managingmadrid. Alternatively, if you're on YouTube, just hit join underneath this video on the YouTube memberships tab. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you, Madridistas. Managing Madrid signing off. Peace out.